So I finally got back to my Honda Navi after not being able to ride it for a bit. And I've been going around fixing a bunch of tiny little issues and stuff. And I finally got fed up with trying to tune carbs and constantly guessing the jet sizing and what runs best. So I thought it was finally time to install a wideband. This is just a cheap little kit you can either get on Amazon or AliExpress. It's just an AEM clone of a one of their gauges. It also comes with a wideband O2 sensor and all the wiring. So yeah, I think it was $130 Canadian, so it's not overly expensive. The reviews are okay. It's a little mixed. There's some people that say that the sensor fails, or the gauge, I believe. I can't remember which one, but it either gets stuck super lean or super rich. So obviously we'll test that out. It also comes with a bung you need to weld into your exhaust and everything. And overall, it looks okay quality so far. And yeah, it seems pretty simple to install, not overly complicated. Like I said, the whole harness is here. Just have a few wires to wire up, but you should be good after that. Okay, so first thing I did is I took off my slip-on just to get some more room, clear out the springs and my carbon piece that's here. And we're gonna be marking out where we want the actual O2 sensor, or the wideband sensor, I mean. And to do that, just come to your header and take your O2 sensor, or the wideband sensor, sorry, and kind of just find a place that you can fit it somewhat directly upwards in. I believe it said 10 degrees is the allowable tolerance for how you position this. So you want to plan out where you put this bung. I believe closer to the actual port, the better, but it is a single, so it's whatever. I'm sure it'll be okay. So try and get it somewhat close in this area. Depends on whatever exhaust you have. Some exhausts, if you have, what's it called? I think Yoshimura might have one. And then Hot Lap, I'm pretty sure has either the option or they do come with a bung pre-installed. I have no idea if it's the same like threads or anything. I'm assuming it should be. But yeah, if you don't have bung already installed just from factory, whatever exhaust you have, just use the one that's included in the kit and drill and weld it onto here, which isn't that hard of a job. As long as you have a cheap little welder, you should be good. If not, mark the spot, get it drilled out, and bring it to a exhaust shop or something that can weld it for you. So I'll take this header off and I'll bring it over to a vise that I have, and yeah, we'll start drilling it out. I'm gonna probably put my O2 sensor, or the wideband sensor, right around here. It seems like it has enough room. I'll still be able to access my spark plug if I need to, if this is installed while I'm running it. Just leave a little gap from the plastic so you don't heat those up and melt them. But other than that, it should be good. So I'm gonna say right about there. It's a little hard to do one-handed, but so yeah, I'll skip to bringing this over to the vise and getting this drilled out. Okay, so starting out, I'm gonna take a punch and make a little mark for a drill bit right where I marked out with Sharpie. So I'll just hit this with a hammer and then I'll try and drill this out. I don't know if I have the right size drill bit to make the proper sized hole for this, so I might have to use a Dremel to size it open, which might take a bit, but we will find out. Okay, so I couldn't find any bigger drill bits than what I just used, and the bung needs to be that size. So I'll have to take my Dremel and size open this hole until it matches this. That'll take a lot longer than just actually drilling it out, but we'll eventually get there, and I'll cut to that once I'm done. Okay, so I finally finished making the hole to weld the O2 bung onto the exhaust. And definitely try and find a drill bit that size. Doing it with the Dremel took forever, and I definitely don't recommend that if you don't have to. But so I Dremeled it out, and I made sure that the actual bung, it's hard to see, this is installed, but I made sure that the hole itself on the exhaust is bigger than the bung. just to make sure that when we have it welded on, the O2 sensor or the wideband sensor doesn't contact the actual exhaust metal itself with this part. So there's at least clearance for that. So the only thing left now is to actually weld it on. So I'll probably tack it on while it's on the actual bike, just so I can get it angled right so it clears the plastics and stuff. So as you can see, it's pretty straight up and down. It's a little off to the right side in this picture, or in this video, but that's to clear the plastics and give some room. But then you also still have some room to reach, or at least on mine, to reach the spark plug wire and do anything on that if you have this installed at the same time. So yeah, I'll tack this on and then I'll weld around it and it should be good from there. Okay, so I'm gonna tack this on. I marked 2 points for lining up the bung when it was on the actual bike. Don't judge the welds too hard. This is with a super shitty welder that likes to not work sometimes, but we'll try and get it done. Should go good. I'll have it on the lowest settings. This one only has like 2 switches to adjust the actual welder itself on top of 8 wire speed knob. So I have, when I redid this exhaust, I have burnt through it a few times. So if it starts doing that, I might just have to slowly tack along and see what happens. But yeah. Okay, so back on the bike, this is it finally welded up. I tried cleaning it up a bit, didn't work out the best. But yeah, you can see it's threaded in all the way, completely crushed the seal there. So, and this is also with it bolted up. Not super snug, but you get the idea. So we still have clearance here. It's tight enough where, once again, you can access all this stuff, but it's also not in the way fully. So this part should be good, so you can assemble your exhaust now. The only thing left after this is the actual wiring of it all and the whole system of it. So yeah, this I'll probably feed up into under the seat up in here. I do have this cut out in here to make room for the carb and its throttle cable. So yeah, there's a little bit of an opening there, so I could straight up run it through there if I really wanted to, or find a different, more clean way like up here. And then after that, it's just the wiring. So it should be pretty simple and straightforward on from there. Okay, so I have my slip-on and carbon fiber piece fully installed, and I ran my wideband sensor up through the hole for my carb through here. You can do the same, just do it through up here and route it. You can put it inside the panels, and then you have this harness here. This side connects to the O2 sensor, or the wideband sensor. And then the other side will connect to the gauge that is included in the kit. So you have a decent, like way more than enough wiring to actually run through this bike, as you can see. So you can tuck this, hide this inside of here, whatever you need to do, and wherever you mount this gauge. I'm not too sure how I might mount mine yet, and I don't know if I'll keep it as a permanent install. At least the gauge part, the wiring I might keep in. But the gauge, I don't know if I want on here once I'm actually done the tuning part of it. So yeah, so I'll connect this, I'll run this up here, and then I'll try and figure out what the other wiring harness, what that needs to be connected to and everything. That one's a lot more DIY, not plug and play type of a harness. It has a bunch of wires that are exposed at the end that you will have to manually wire. So obviously power, ground, and things like that. So yeah. Okay, so it's the next day after the initial install of the bung and the wideband sensor down on the exhaust. And the actual wiring for this was fairly easy. My wiring is a little bit different because I have the AC to DC conversion for the headlights and all that. But the basic wiring will still remain the same. So what I did is I made a little plug for this. This goes straight to the actual gauge back here. That's the power and ground for that. There is a bunch of extra wires if you want to wire it to CAN bus, I believe, from what I can see. but we don't need that because obviously Honda Navi is pretty simple. It doesn't have anything advanced like that. So all you need is the power and ground. So I just made a little connector that I can disconnect and reconnect it easily if I don't want to permanently have this on the bike. And the actual wiring for this is I just spliced it into this fuse over here. I have a add a circuit thing for the AC to DC conversion, like I said, but the same thing applies. I spliced it into here, which only gets power when the key is turned on. So I just brought power to this connector through the existing wire for that. You guys can either get an add a fuse thing like this to then wire straight to here, or put this wire to the bottom of the fuse holder down here. Either way, just connect it to this because this always has power only when key's on. And then for ground, I just went straight to the battery. And this just runs straight up to here, to the actual gauge. I haven't figured out how I'm gonna mount this yet. I forgot to buy a mount. They do sell it on Amazon. It's only like $12, but still. And now, when you turn on the key, you can actually see it turns on. So it heats up the wideband first, and then it gives you a reading. I won't go through the whole thing of letting it warm up and starting the bike yet, but yeah, you can see it works and stuff. So, yep. Okay, so I cleaned up the wiring and I tucked it all under the panels. So what I did is the wideband has a lot of length to it. So I just rolled it up, zip tied it, and I'm gonna leave it here probably. And that just goes straight up through here, kind of tucked under the little lip under here for the side panel and under the gas tank cover. And it runs up here and then through right there, just squished in between, and then up under here. And then for the power harness, that one I did the same exact way of routing it, and it's not as long as the wideband's harness, so I just tucked it in on the side panel here, and I still have access to this connector here if I ever want to disconnect it easily, and I can still reach. It's all fine there. And for the actual mounting of the gauge, that it's kind of hard to see, but there's this little plastic bracket piece that goes around and up like that, and there's two, I don't know if you can see it kind of right there. There's two nuts, one there and one there. If you loosen that off, this little bracket drops down. So I fed some zip ties on each side through there, tightened the clamp back up, and then just zip tied it on, and it's actually pretty sturdy. You can still move it a little bit, but like, I can shake the whole bike with it, so it's pretty sturdy. And yeah, still works and everything. It's all good. So yeah, it seems like a pretty decent setup right now. You can make a more permanent mount. I just don't know if I'll keep this on always. I might just leave the wiring in, but take this sensor off. So zip ties was the easiest option for now. But yeah, so it's a pretty simple install. Hardest part is literally just doing the wideband bung. Other than that though, wiring is literally power and ground and just connecting the connectors that you have for the wideband and the two connectors to the actual gauge. Okay, so just as a quick little test, I put a 32 pilot jet in there, so for the idle, which should be very lean for this this setup on this bike. Even stock, I believe that's either what they are or even smaller than stock. So I'll use that as a little test to show you that this actually reads lean, and then I'll go in and switch out the jets and set it back to a somewhat proper idle jet. And then once again, show on the actual gauge itself, just to show that there is an actual difference, and it does pick up the difference in jetting quite accurately. So yeah. So my overall thoughts on the actual wideband is it's honestly probably one of my favorite mods I've done so far to this bike. I knew it would be a useful tool to have, but I didn't think it would be this useful to it. Within like the first few attempts of actually tuning my carb after installing this, I had like the AFR is completely spot on, or at least close to in the range that you would want. 13 and a half to 14.7 area. And like I had the most consistent idle I've ever had just from simply looking at the gauge and judging off of that. And I even found out that the main jets I've been running this whole time on my big bore setup were too rich by like a decent amount. The AFR on this was still like 10 or 9, even on a 96 main jet or a 98 main jet, I believe. And I was commonly running 96, 98, even 100 sometimes, thinking that that was a good range, just judging off of how it drove and how it felt. But really, it was actually too rich. So right now I'm at a 92, and even that's still at a 12 and a half AFR range roughly. So even that's still a little bit too rich, but it's a lot better. And I can already feel after judging off the AFR gauge and actually tuning the car properly how much of a difference it made. So it is a little bit pricier. It's not insanely expensive, but when you consider the time that it saves and how useful it is as kind of just recording data about your bike, especially in different conditions, mixed with a tachometer and other things you can judge, I think it's a worth it mod. So yeah.